assistant here. Before we begin today's show, we have a special announcement. Tiffany and Jordan have been selected to moderate discussions at the ChatBlackGPT launch event on Juneteenth. We hope to see you there. Tickets are available for in-person and virtual attendees. Now let's get to our interview with cybersecurity expert and educator, Kenneth Ellington.
All right, this is where we banter. So how are you doing today, Kenneth?
What's up?
Pretty good. Just been really busy with everything going on, but pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Busy preparing for your next fight?
I was actually sparring last Sunday, and my trainer's boyfriend, it's like an ex-fighter. She always puts me with him for some odd reason. I guess she hates me. And you can tell he's like so much better than everyone else in the class. It's not even funny. It's like how he controls his body. So my arm got all bruised up trying to catch his kicks. So it was very, very fun. But it's a part of the process.
Did he just say getting kicked was fun?
That's why I quit Muay Thai, because I was like, oh no. I checked one kick one time and it bruised from the bottom of my leg to the top. I said, oh nah, this is not my ministry. So yeah.
It's like catching kicks isn't that bad. It's just we did it like 100 times. So my side of my ribs and then my arm all got bruised up. And the thing is, he doesn't hit hard, but he has perfect body control, so you feel it. That makes sense. And it was just like, why is he in such better shape than me? Then I'm like, oh wait, he used to do it professionally. Never mind. So it's just
Okay.
It was fun. It was fun.
So I guess my last question about that, how long have you been training?
For over 2 years now.
Okay, cool. Can't wait to see you in the UFC. Anyway, do you know what is about to happen?
We can do a podcast.
Well,
Heck yeah, we are. But before we dive into that, into the reason people actually come here, we're going to play a little game called That's My Jam, 90s R&B edition. Shout out Jimmy Fallon. It's been a minute. What's up, bro? Still waiting for my letter. Anyway, here are the rules. We are going to play 4 songs. You have until the end of the song to guess who the artist is or the name of the song. If you get both, that's a flex. That's awesome, but the points are still the same. So, I mean, one or the other. What am I missing? Oh, you get 3 guesses. So, are you ready?
I mean, I was born in 1997, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, perfect. Anthony, song number 1.
We were as one, babe, for a moment in time, and it seemed everlasting that you would always be mine. Now you wanna be free, so I'll let you fly, 'cause I know in my heart, babe, our love will never die. You'll always be a part of me.
At least Kiana's getting her
I'm
shine
part
right
of
now.
you indefinitely. Boy, don't you know you can't escape me. Ooh, darling, 'cause you'll always be my baby.
I only 2 guess it'd be Mariah Carey or Lauryn Hill.
Hey! Ding, ding. Nice. Okay, he's on the board. You're already better than like 3 other people we've had, so let's keep it going. Song number 2.
When I first saw you, I already knew there was something inside of you, something I thought that I would never find.
You want to get in here?
Angel of mine. I look at you, looking at me. Now I know why they say the best things are for free.
Anthony's singing this one.
I'm gonna love you, boy, you are so fine. Angel of mine.
You know this one. You got it.
I have no idea who this is whatsoever.
Oh! Oh, my feelings, my heart, my soul, all of that, my toes. All right, so that one is Monica, Angel of Mine. Have you ever heard that song? Monica?
I have no idea who that is whatsoever.
He's like, who?
A moment of silence. That's fine. Give him the thing. All right. All right. Song number 3.
I took my baby on a Saturday bang. Boy, is that girl with you? Guess we're one and the same. Now I believe in miracles, and a miracle has happened tonight. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white.
Anthony's
Michael
jam.
Jackson?
Yes!
I'm
Is that the one you said you'd be mad about?
I said if he got that wrong, I'm gonna be mad.
Awesome. Okay, you got one more.
Yep.
You got one more. Song number 4? 3? I'm tripping.
Yep,
Song number 4.
Lately there seems to be some insecurity.
I didn't know this one, to be honest.
About the way I feel, where I wanna be. Boy, you know it's with you. No one can do the things you do to me.
It's okay. I really didn't know this one, so.
Never to be mistaken, long as it's love.
Did you know this one, Anthony?
There's gonna be some rain.
I knew the song, but I don't know who sings it or the name of the song.
That's
Only
crazy.
time will show, our love will grow.
You don't want to guess?
I want to say Chris Brown, but I don't think he sung in the 90s.
At least you knew that. Go ahead and give him a plus. All right. Well, I mean, you got 2 out of 4. Like I said, that's better than like 3 or 4 other people we've had on the show. So give yourself a pat on the back. You know, good stuff. Oh, and before I forget, shout out to Guyana for providing the vocals. She is insanely talented. You guys go follow her on Instagram at Destination Guyana. Okay, so let's go ahead and shift to the reason people are actually here. If it's your first time, welcome. If you already know the vibes, welcome back. I'm Jordan, aka Jay, aka Big Stepper, aka The Chosen One, aka someone with too many names. And I am here with my co-host.
I'm Tiffany B. We're excited that you're here with us for an episode of the Stats on Stats podcast, where we get to talk to leaders, professionals in the cyber, IT, technology spaces. And we have one of those people here with us today. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself, where he's from, where he is, how long he's been in his role, and what he currently does.
So thanks for having me on, guys. My name is Kenneth Ellington. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida, but I currently live in Dallas, Texas right now. I am not a Cowboy fan. I hate that team completely. They're absolute trash. Anyways, I've been in cybersecurity for almost, a little over 5 years. I started out as a threat intelligence analyst. I've done various roles from software engineering, from sim engineering, and now I'm a senior consultant at one of the big 4 accounting firms. So I do sim and SOAR consulting with them. Then I actually own my own business as well called Ellington Cyber Academy. And we do sim and SOAR training for professionals, and we do career coaching as well.
So, now that everybody knows who you are, let's go ahead and tell them what your journey was to get into this role.
Sure. So initially, I had a business management degree back in college. Reason being, I didn't want to do programming. I thought it was god awful to sit on a keyboard all day and just type numbers and letters to make money. That didn't make any sense towards me. My dad actually is a software engineer. He's been there for the past almost 30 years now. He kind of pushed me and my brother to go inside of tech, but we weren't I wasn't mentally ready for it. It didn't make any sense to me, right? But what he did for his job. So I decided to go the business management route. It wasn't until my undergrad junior year at USF that I want to pivot inside of technology. I want a better job prospects. I kind of want to niche down to something more specific. And if I pass, I'm like, well, Dad, what should I do? He's like, how about IT, Kenneth? I'm like, that's a great idea. So that's how I initially wanted to do IT. And then one of my biggest things I tell all my students is that make sure people know what your true desires are so they can speak on your behalf when you're not inside the room, right? The closed mouths don't get fed. If people don't know what you want to do or who you are, then they can't help you out, right, when you're not there. I told anybody and everybody that wanted to know what my goals are, right? I want to do technology for my career, and if they had any job opportunities or internships, to let me know. So that summer, my store manager at the time, I worked at public supermarkets. I worked in deli. My store manager at the time, Lori, told me, she's like, hey, Kenneth, you said you want to do IT, right? I'm like, yes, Lori. She said, well, the director of Publix for cybersecurity is going to be here in the store in about 2 weeks. Do you want to meet him? I'm like, yes, of course. So I met Rick Rampola. I don't know if he's still the director or not, but he might be. He was like the head of basically engineering for all public cybersecurity. So the headquarters is like only 15 miles away from where I grew up, basically, from my home. He sat me down. He's like, Kenneth, he's like, I love your passion and energy. We talked a little bit. And he's like, Kenneth, I want you to work for me next summer. On my internship team next year. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, what's required? He's like, there are certain steps I need you to take by next spring. If you can do that, I can guarantee you a spot on my internship team next year. So it was like getting Splunk certifications, getting Security Plus, going to B sites, and going to another conference, and then shadowing his team that fall. I did everything he asked of me. I fast forward 9 months. I interview with the team and I get the job. That's kind of how I got that cybersecurity.
My only real question about that journey is, do you get pub subs for life?
Why everyone always asks me that? No, they're not. No, they're not free. They're not free.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so cyber threat intelligence. I know we're going to talk about the Cyber Academy, but can you talk a little bit about what your day-to-day is before you start training and mentoring everybody?
Yeah, so for my current role, my day varies. I have a couple of clients that I'm helping right now. A lot of it is Splunk implementation work and then doing detection engineering. So what that means is I'll advise them on their platform or their product or their environment and see how we're able to test new rules, new correlation searches to look for new detections, new malicious actors, right? And then help implement that inside of the environment. It gets, I don't want to say easy, but it gets pretty simple after a while because I've done it enough times. I know what to look for, especially inside the different corporate environments. So a lot of it, the biggest thing is probably the people interactions with the clients, right? Making sure you're keeping them calm, keeping them situated. 'Cause a lot of times they are very stressed out, right? That's why they pay a lot of money to bring in these consultants. So having those interpersonal skills are very important. And our roles, right, Jordan, like customer facing roles.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell the client to F off, right? That's not like acceptable. You won't get put back on the client. You might get fired. So being able to navigate that landscape is like really beneficial.
So, I mean, what do you love about consulting?
What I love about it?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to deal with people all day long. So,
He's like, that was
something,
a trick question.
something keeps you coming back.
So I would say the cool part about it is I get to work with like a really diverse set of people, especially for my firm, where we have like 300,000 people around the globe, all across the planet. It's like a really diverse set of people I get to learn and work with, which is really cool. I get to work with like a lot of cool clients as well, like a lot of Fortune 100 companies, a lot of Fortune 50 companies. I get to work in and see their environment. You get branded as an expert, right, Jordan, as you know.
Yes.
And you're like, I've only been doing this for like a couple of weeks. So I'm not an expert, but they brand you as that when you're a consultant. So you can't not know something. Basically, you have to put your best foot forward, basically, and talk and walk that walk, basically. That's one of the cool parts about it, because a lot of times they do trust your opinion a lot, right? Like if Jordan says it, that means it's the Bible. That means we have to do it, right? It's scripture. And I'm like, well, I'm like, these are just my best practices, like recommendations from the documentation, which no one seems to want to read for some odd reason. Those are a couple of things I like a lot. I can tell you a lot of reasons I don't like it, but I don't want to.
All right. So I'll say this real fast. My favorite part of being a consultant, first, like you said, it's, oh, you're an expert. And I'm like, who's an expert? Not me. But like, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation, but you'll be in a meeting with a customer and it's always like that super technical customer who will be like, hey, can you explain this to me? I never seen that before in my life. I don't know if you've ever had that situation happen, but I've had that happen quite a few times over the last like month, where a customer will be like, well, the software does this. Why does it do that? I'm like, I didn't even know it did that. So my bad.
Yeah, that's happened a lot of times. I will not name names because again, I don't get the flash of it. But a lot of times they won't know what they're talking about, right? And so they're just trying to argue with me. I'm like, look, man. I'm like, just go to the documentation. Here's the links for it. Oh no, this can't be right. I'm like, they wrote the software. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Smoke wrote the software. I'm like, this is what they say, right? This is what I'm basing my knowledge off of, right? But then I argue back. I'm like, okay. I'm like, whatever you want. I'm like, this isn't gonna work. It doesn't work. And they come back towards me. So that's happens quite often for some odd reason. Even though they're paying us a lot of money. I've never really understood it, but I don't fully understand human beings yet, so that might be the reason why.
Out of everything you could have gotten into in terms of software, why are you sticking with Splunk software specifically? What made you choose it?
So I fell in love with some technology during my internship. So I worked in our SOC for Publix. So I basically shadowed all of the groups. So I did SOC engineering, threat intelligence, blue team work. I shadowed GRC. I shadowed the red team. Shadowed network engineering, and it was between security operations side, and then the engineering side for it. Those are two areas I like the most. And we basically use Splunk every single day, basically. So every day after lunch, you would have like a 2-hour session. They'd drop a laptop in front of our labs and be like, all right, time to practice. And we do that every single day, over and over again. And when you do something for 9 hours a day for like 3 months straight, you get pretty good at it. It was just, to me, it was really cool because I could see what everyone was doing. I don't know they get that much power towards like a 20-year-old kid, but I saw what everyone was doing. All their logs, all the email attachments they had, who they were emailing, like all my executives. I'm like, this is kind of creepy, but I'm like, it's really cool though. It was weird. I'm like, I can literally, they gave me access to everything. I'm like, I can just see everything. All attachments, you send something inappropriate, I can see that. Who you're messaging, when you're doing it, why you're doing it. And I can basically go inside your account and make changes if need be. Again, I don't know why they gave me that much power, but it was really cool. I'm like, man, I'm like, this job's awesome.
Right on. So for those watching, if you want the tea, go ahead and become a SIEM engineer. Hey y'all, real quick, we just want to say if you're an aspiring cybersecurity professional, a couple tools that you should be familiar with are SIEM Source Solutions. They are the backbone of pretty much every career in cybersecurity. Tiffany and I have actually taken a ton of cybersecurity training. We are very fortunate in that aspect. And so
we're proud to announce that we partnered with Ellington Cyber Academy. Kenneth Ellington and his team are going to be able to present you with training to help you not just learn to be a team member using the SIEM sword, but also they help to guide you and mentor you for long-term success even after the courses are over. So
yeah, they teaching you technical, they teaching you soft skills. Like, this is one of the only programs that we've encountered that is going to make you an all-around cybersecurity professional able to make an immediate impact wherever you end up employed.
You may see some of their information. Take some time, check it out if you're interested in learning more about SIEM and SWORD and advancing your career. This is the group that you want to work with.
I actually had another question. How did you get so spun up on Splunk? Because at the level you are now, you have to be super proficient. So you started from the bottom, now you're here. How did you get trained up? What kind of resources helped you get to where you are right now?
So Publix was a really good resource for me because they're a super big client of Splunk. So I got pretty good training there when I initially did them. And then from there, after I left Publix, one of the things I tell, especially college students, right? Make sure you're able to apply your knowledge after your internship or you'll lose it. A lot of people do internship for a year and then they'll leave it and they'll forget everything, right? Because they don't ever apply that knowledge again. So what I did, I joined Blacks in Cybersecurity. They're a nonprofit group that promote people of color like us inside this field. There's not a lot of us inside this field. So I worked with them and it really got spun up when COVID happened. So I graduated during 2020. I was the first class during COVID. Completely crap. Terrible. Because one day I saw my professors. I'm like, all right, guys, I'll see you next week. I didn't see them for like a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
It was literally, so like, it was 1 week, everything was fine. Next week, everything completely shut down. Got terrible. But anyways, from that, I was stuck at home after quote unquote graduation, like a video ceremony. Although that was trash. Spent $40,000 on a degree program. But hey, people were dying, right? I had bigger concerns, so I'm just being honest, right? I'm like, I wasn't gonna complain, right? The world was like shutting down. I'm like, hey, I'm alive, I'm healthy, I have a job, right? I won't complain too much. So during that time, I signed an offer letter to become a software engineer. So I had like 3 months before I start my start date in July. So I had a lot of free time. So I was stuck at home because you can't go anywhere, right? Everything's in lockdown. I'm just sitting in my parents' house doing nothing. And then my CEO at the time, Michaela, she's like, hey, Kenneth. She's like, do you want to do a Splunk class? I'm like, oh, sure thing, Michaela. I'm like, well, who's going to teach it? She's like, you are, Kenneth. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I can do that. And so from there, that's how I started my professional training journey. So I developed the curriculum, the classes, the course notes, and I taught that towards our members basically, and they loved it. And from there, that's kind of how I learned. I developed a lot of my own stuff. I'd watch videos, I'd go on Splunk, training.com, do all the free stuff that I could, and then I had to practice by myself, which was really painful because I had to figure out what was wrong and how to fix it. But it made me really good at using smoke and sim technologies. From there, I just did it over 2 years, and then started ECA basically.
That's kind of heavy. Like, I'm listening to you like talk about how you were teaching, and I was just like, you were so young. That's so heavy, man. Kudos to you, because I couldn't even, like, right now if they're like teach a class, I'd be like, not me. I'm too young for that. But shut up.
It got me. Yeah, it got me out of doing nothing. I was really bored. I couldn't go, and it was weird when I drove on the roads back in Brandon, like during COVID. No one was there. It was like on a Sunday. It was like nobody would be in the road. Everything be shut down. Right? It was like really creepy.
Yeah,
Like
that is creepy.
it was so weird because I got so happy just going to the store. I could see other human beings.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
Well, Jordan just talked about how young you were, like developing these courses and everything. So, developing these courses, especially around like sim and SOAR, they're such complex tools. Did you find that there were any challenges that you weren't anticipating while you were creating that material?
I mean, a constant feel like not knowing what the hell you're doing was one really big thing, right? That imposter syndrome. Again, I was really young, right? I was straight out of college, basically. I had a lot of big professionals ask me for questions, right? And I had to make sure I was on my game, which was one of the biggest things I try to always do, right? Because people trust me. People pay me a lot of money to teaching classes, so I like to make sure they're getting their time and value out of it. But a lot of it was like the research aspect of it, making sure what I'm presenting is knowledgeable and is correct, right? A lot of people, there'll be a lot of articles online, but people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And so I want to make sure that I can sift through all that garbage and give them the proper knowledge they needed to have.
That's dope. That's really dope. You put a lot of care into your teaching. So let's shift into Ellington Cyber Academy.
What is that, Jason? Like,
is that what that is? I don't know. All right.
sorry.
All right. So tell us a little bit about Ellington Cyber Academy. And when I say a little, tell us everything.
Yeah.
Sure. So we were founded in June of 2022. So it'll be 2 years this June. We are an e-learning and cybersecurity training platform specifically designed for SIM and SOAR endpoint solution technologies. So think of Splunk Enterprise Security, XSOAR, Splunk Phantom, SentinelOne. Splunk and SentinelOne are our two of our partners now. So we try to make tailored design programs for professionals. We do hands-on small group trainings. So one of the things I hated about college was our professor would teach a class in front of like 100 people, right? A lot of times I wouldn't know anything about my professor or my other students, right? And it'd be very informal, and I wouldn't really learn anything. I was just there to get the credit, right, and move on, which I didn't like. So I wanted to make something that was tailored towards what I knew that best suited my needs, because a lot of people were similar towards me in that regard, and that's what we created. So we've been going on for almost 2 years now. It's been it's been amazing, honestly. It's been a lot of work. There are honestly days I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Like, why am I working so hard? Like I was telling you, like Wednesday when I got that call from State of Texas, right? That's how I felt. I'm like, why am I doing all this hard work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I get reminded of like the value I get to bring toward my students because of it. A lot of them have gotten jobs that have changed their lives and they changed the fortunes of their families. And that's like a feeling I don't get from my normal job, and I can't get from a normal job, right? So that's one of the reasons why I do it.
I feel like not everybody, a lot of people we talk to, like they really just want to be of service to other people. So again, you are, even right now, you're still pretty young, but like what inspires you or what makes you have that sense of like, hey, I want to help other people? Like, where does that come from?
I guess it comes from my family. So my parents are Jamaican immigrants. They didn't have much when I came towards this country on my dad's side. So seeing how hard both my parents worked to build a life for me and my brother, so we wouldn't ever have to worry about food or clothing, right? They're always there for us no matter what. It means everything to me, right? So I want to make sure people have the opportunity to get back towards their kids and their families, right? So making sure they have good paying jobs and good paying careers is really important to me in that aspect. And I think that's part of the reason why I like to do what I do.
All right. You've been mentioning your students, and I know it's something that's been really important to you is to make sure that you're not just preparing them for tests, but you're also preparing them to like be professionals in the world. So can you talk about what your team does for them after the program courses are complete?
So during and after the program, we do career development and teach students how to actually market themselves. So one of the biggest things I see, it's a pet peeve of mine, is people don't know how to like talk to people or market themselves properly, especially like on a platform like LinkedIn. I don't know about you, Jordan, but I'll get messages saying people will be like, hey, Kenneth, I need you to give me a job. I need a network engineering job next 2 weeks. And when you get that job, just let me know, right? And they will like introduce themselves. I'm like, I don't like, dude, I'm like, I don't know who you are. Like, I literally just met you. Like,
Our
there's
DMs are
no,
not the same.
Like, what?
Our DMs are not created equal.
Wow.
yeah, so that's something that I try to teach my students not to do and how to actually properly develop relationships on LinkedIn. So that's a really big thing. I've gotten a majority of my students through LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So I met you guys basically, right? So there's a lot of opportunities for students out there. They just have to learn how to actually use the platform properly, which I don't think a lot of people know how to do, especially college students, because they don't teach that in college, from my perspective. Another thing would be actually learning how to present in front of people and doing technical presentations. That's a real big part of our job, Jordan, right? And breaking down those technical topics from a non-technical audience towards a technical audience, and a lot of times vice versa. And you just can't say, well, so obvious. Well, just built into detection rules, like you can't say that, right? You have to know how to actually break it down for them. So for our captions, what we do is we'll bring in judges like you, which I'll be doing in a couple of weeks, like a month. I'll bring in someone like you, Jordan, or somebody like my brother Marcus, and then they'll actually be judges for these students, so they get to present in front of actual professionals. A lot of times, they're looking for candidates such as themselves.
So I actually have a question about some of the technical pieces. In terms of your like technical education, what does that kind of look like for the labbing and for kind of getting them into that administration or the administering the actual scene? What's that look like?
All our programs are really hands-on. So the Cyber Career Boost 1 to 6 month long program. We meet every Wednesday night from 6:30 to 9 Central Time, and all the classes are really hands-on. So normally how it'll work is I'll demo a lab environment, right? I'll show them how to actually build out and maintain their own smoke environment, and I'll say, all right, now it's your turn to do it, right? And if they have any questions about it, we're there to help them out. So if they're building like knowledge objects, dashboards, alerts, reports, we'll teach them how to do it, and then they'll do it by themselves. And if they have any questions during class, we're there to help them out, basically. Same thing for the architecture concepts, which we're doing right now. Their capstone is coming Wednesday. And so what we did is we walked through various scenarios about how to deploy applications towards their clients. We walked through that, worked through how to perform a health check using Splunk, and then we walked through different scenarios on how to actually assess the client's environment and then give them proper responses back. I was told I was very intense during it. Only reason I do that is because that's how my clients are. Actually, my clients are a lot worse. So being able to do that is really beneficial, right? Because I want to make sure they're not like shocked by how someone might talk towards them, right? I want them to be properly prepared whenever they leave the program and actually get jobs out in the field.
You seem so very kind that I find it hard to believe that people say you're intense. So do you have any examples of times where you're in class and you're like, okay, this is a moment where some of my students felt like I'm so intense with our tests or...
Well, it's like during the capstones, right? They said the bad cop role. And so if they ask, so Jordan's like, oh, well, I think Elastic is the best platform out there. I'm gonna be like, well, why, Jordan? Why is that the case? And she's like, oh, well, Elastic, you just pay for the features that you want. I'm like, but I want all the features. So can we afford that? Yes or no? Right. And I don't want any of this. Oh, well, I think so. No. I'm paying you $10 million. I want a yes or no answer. You guys understand that, right? And that's how I talk towards them. That's how my clients talk to me a lot of the times, right? So I want to bring that same energy towards the table so they're not shocked once it actually happens towards them on the job. A lot of times I see like young consultants, they'll get like deer in headlight moments when the client talks towards them like a certain way. And I want to avoid that as much as possible. The same thing if you're like an NBA player, right? You try to mimic and practice how realistic it'll be in game time, so you're not shocked by the speed of it. Same thing, same concept.
Fair enough. So are you a Mavs fan?
I'm an Oklahoma City fan.
Huh? For what?
I became one when they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden.
Okay. And they're number one right now, right?
Yeah, they're number one seed.
I like Chet. I like watching Chet. I mean, I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. That's going to Victor. But I mean, I do like Chet. All right, let's keep going.
All right, Mr. Instructor, tell us about a time where you were able to look back and think, like, this is exactly why I'm doing this program, and this is exactly the impact that I wanted to have with the ECA.
Yes, there's two moments. First one would be Hazel Miranda. So Hazel Miranda is now one of my apprentice instructors for ECA. She was one of my first students that we had back in August of 2022 when we did the beta program. Hazel by nature is a really shy person. When I had my onboarding call with her, I'm like, is everything okay with her? I'm like, she's like insanely shy. She's like, oh no. She's like, I'm just a quiet person. One of the biggest things she wanted to do is to help her come out of her shell, right? That's what we did for the 5-week beta program, basically. It was really cool to see her progress. And then, like, what was it? I believe a month after that, she got a job at Samsung, and that was her first job out of college, basically.
Wow.
So she's a QA engineer there. She was actually unemployed for 6 months after she graduated from UTA. Because she's very shy, right? It was hard for her to get that proper friend group that understood her needs and wants, right, inside of cybersecurity. So she couldn't get a job, so she was unemployed for 6 months. We got a job paying her over 50K a year with Samsung, full benefits and stuff like that. So that was a really cool moment. And especially to see what she's doing right now is like even cooler. She's come like such a long way. I'm like beyond proud and blessed of what she's been doing. And then my first apprentice instructor was Courtney, right? So Courtney was an IT service technician, and she decided to join my program. She was my first student, like my first official student that I had. She did my career mentorship program, then she went to do my actual training program. They're now all like blended together, but before that they were separate. I would say Courtney's more like Tiffany compared to Jordan. She's like really mellow, it's like really chill personality. So I kind of had to pull like that energy out of her. She did really well. We helped her get a job as a consultant initially out of the program. And then I made her my apprentice instructor. When I told her, she had like the blankest impression ever. I'm like, I guess she's not happy. But she was like, oh, I was just like shocked that you offered me the job, kind of after the call. So she was my apprentice instructor for like a year. It was a really crazy time because we were getting sped up with everything, right? And I honestly tell her like, there's no way we could have started ECA without her. So she's now a SOC specialist at Expel. She's doing MDR right now. She has her own vending machine company as well. And she tripled her salary since we worked with her. So she paid like, I think with everything, I think like maybe $1,500. And now she's made from that like an extra $60,000 or something like that. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, you changing lives out here. That's what's up, though. For real, that's dope. So from a context perspective, right? Because there's the NIST side of cybersecurity, right? And then you have all the kids playing in Security Onion. So in terms of your courses, what are you kind of getting people ready for? Is it both?
So I would say that primarily roles that we try to get our students ready for are like SOAR automation roles, sim engineering roles, consulting roles. If they want to be like a sales engineer, they can do that as well. Solutions architect, analyst roles as well. So a lot of our students, they may not have enough technical experience to get a direct cybersecurity role after the program because it is a very competitive market. We tell them to try to pivot from a less technical role inside a more technical role inside of a firm. So a lot of them will get roles as like a GRC analyst or like a business system analyst or administrator, and then they'll pivot into cybersecurity basically.
That's actually so it's not funny, but I'm glad you said that, right? Because oftentimes I think people see like you'll go to this boot camp or you'll go to this training or whatever for like 6 months to a year, and then you'll have a cybersecurity job. But I like the fact that you kind of pointed out, hey, they may not necessarily have the technical skills to do like something technical, but there are still those roles within cybersecurity that you can pivot to without it. Like it's still very much so cybersecurity, but it's not necessarily super hands-on keyboard heavy. So I'm actually kind of glad you said that because I think there needs to be more conversation about the distinction there.
I think part of it, I think is marketing, right? People get market right. Hey, you can get that cybersecurity in like 45 days or 2 months. I'm like, that's not really realistic, right? If you don't have any previous background experience. So I have to tell people, right? Think of it like any other career track or career field, right? Someone's like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor after a couple of months. You'd be like, who the hell are you? You can't sell that. That doesn't make any sense, right? Or if you want to be, I don't know, like an engineer working on subways or trains or bridges, right? It takes years to get that type of level and skill set, right? Same thing with cybersecurity, right? So you may have to start off at a lower position, but in this field, most positions still pay pretty decently well compared to other fields, so that's perfectly fine. just have that long-term mindset and goal in place, and you should be fine, right? One of the things I like to do with my students is be really honest with them. I'm not a snake oil salesman, so I don't tell everybody, oh, easily after a couple of weeks you'll be good, right? That's not how it works. Some people I'm like, hey, you guys don't have that much experience. It may take you 9 to 12 months to get a cybersecurity job, right? Because we've never worked in technology before. Some people, if I was training you, Jordan, I'd be like, hey, after 3 months, you might be ready to go, right? You have a lot of previous experience. This depends on what your background experience level is and how much work you're willing to put in, right? Because if you keep missing classes, you don't pay attention in class, right? Your timeline will be a lot longer than someone that's putting in more effort, right? So just keep that in mind as well.
You guys are doing one-to-one coaching from the site. That's what I got is you do one-to-one coaching and mentoring. Anything you want to plug there about how your mentoring or your one-to-one coaching is, or?
I would say biggest thing is this is an investment, right? So look at it that way. I think especially like in our guys and culture, right? We don't always fully understand that for historical reasons, right? So learning how to invest in yourself is super important, right? So do your research, look at reviews, talk to people that have taken the program before. If you believe that person or that program can help you reach your goals, then do the math, right? If you can take it alone, again, do the math, see if you're able to afford it, and then go from there, right? For me personally, time's one thing I can never get back in this lifetime. So if I can speed up my process to reach my end goals and create the life I want to with my family, then I'll make that investment, right? Because I can always make more money. Make more money isn't that hard for what I do now at my level. But time, I can't ever get that back, right? So that's something that I'm more than willing to invest in if it saves me time in the long run.
I like when our guests do like subtle flexes. I could have as much money as I want, but I'm gonna just do me, so it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I like the confidence. That's dope.
All right, you got any words of advice? I mean,
Can I set up the scenario? Can I set up the scenario?
Oh yeah.
Let me do the scenario. Okay. So there you are, standing in a high school cafeteria. They have a Starbucks and a Chick-fil-A. Person walks up to you. They got their hoodie on, their brand new Nike sneakers, hands in their pockets, and they say, Mr. Kenneth, I see what you do. How can I be like you when I grow up? What advice do you give that kid?
First thing, this is a really bougie high school. Yeah, Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. But I would tell them, don't be me, be better than me, right? Because again, I'm really not that smart of a person. I tell my students all the time. I'm a country bumpkin from Florida, right? I'm really not that smart of a person. The biggest thing is just surround yourself with people that want to be at your level or that want to improve themselves, right? That's fine if everyone doesn't want to be a billionaire, that's perfectly fine, right? But if there's a lot of people that you'll have friends, right, they'll want to drag you down back towards their level, right? Have people that want to either lift themselves up by using you as help, or that want to lift you up, right? That's the biggest thing. That's probably the reason why I moved to Dallas, right? Because I felt that I kind of capped out at Tampa, right? I didn't see as many successful people that I wanted to see in the Tampa area, especially in cybersecurity. I could have been doing because I was here during COVID and I couldn't see anybody. But when I went to Dallas, right, it's like all Black professionals are doing like really cool things in cybersecurity. So I had to up my game to reach their level, right, which helped me in my development process. So the biggest thing I would tell the kid is basically be the best version of yourself. Don't be the best version of me. Got to be different from what you want to be. And then have really good people around you, because if you don't, it's very hard to level up.
Yeah, I wanted to real quick before we pivoted. Somebody recently asked us a question that I really liked, so I wanted to ask you, what is your vision for ECA in the future? Like, where do you see yourself? You got hundreds, thousands of students. Like, what is your long-term vision?
So I want to be able to basically have a job pipeline for students. So be able to put them on some of the contracts that we're working on for our future clients, so they're able to have a direct pipeline to get placed with that. I'll also like to work with like the U.S. Army or other federal agencies as well to have a staffing agency to place our students, so they're able to get good paying jobs straight out of the program. That's the end goal.
That's dope.
You mentioned earlier, you were talking about investing in yourself, making sure that, you provide yourself a way to build your future. What are your programs like? What are the prices? Can you tell us about what the prices and everything are for ECAs?
Sure thing. And this is the price as of what? April 18th, 2024 at 6:51, right? You can watch this in the future. More than likely, it will be more expensive as we improve our stuff. Just to keep it
Yeah.
that. But currently our price is around $5,800 for the 6-month program. We do have pricing plans as well. So if you pay everything up front, you get $800 off, which makes it $5,000. Or you can do like a 6-month payment program directly through us, which means you pay every single month. That's like $968 or something like that. And then we also have financing options as well. Or you can pay using Klarna, pay everything up front, and then you can use a payment plan option. So there's a lot of ways you get to pay whatever you're comfortable with. Programs are 6 months long. We meet every Wednesday night. It's small groups, so it's like less than 10 and 15 people, right? It's me and 2 other co-instructors as well. So Hazel Miranda and Brian Budget. They've been with me for over 2 years now, basically. So super cool team. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, just hit me up on LinkedIn, email us, or go directly towards our site to book a call with us, basically. 3 big areas we cover are SIM and SOAR. So SOAR engineering, SIM architecture, and then being an analyst using SIM platforms. We cover Splunk because that is a popular SIM platform for Fortune 100 companies. We also do cover other platforms as well, like SentinelOne, XSOAR, Splunk Phantom as well.
I have a question for you. Are you going to buy me one of the 6-month courses, Tiffany?
We should take it together.
Like, what?
Okay. Well, Kenneth, we talked about what's next for ECA. What's next for you?
Going to Costco after this. And then finishing this workforce commission stuff. I won't finish it by tonight. It's impossible. But at least trying to edit some documentation for it. So when Lindsay comes back next week, I'm not drowning because I do need her help. But other than that, though, just trying to improve the business basically is my biggest thing. I laugh because my life now is just I work out, I watch anime, then I work my business. That's basically all I do now. I mean, I don't mind it. It's really fun to me, but that's mainly my life right now.
Gotcha.
Do you have like a bunch of Hypeland gear just in your closet?
Hypeline gear?
Yeah.
What is that?
What are we even doing right now? You don't know Hypeland? What is that? What's the dude's name? Israel. What? How do you say his last name? I don't want to say it wrong, so I'm not gonna say it. The dude in the UFC. He's from Africa.
Oh, with the Nigerian British guy?
Israel Adesanya. I probably said it wrong. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I know the fighter. I didn't realize he had his own clothing line.
No, but he always wears Hypeland because he's really into anime. Look it up later. Maybe you can buy like a rug or something.
Hypeline. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's
before.
called Hypeland. Yeah.
Okay, I need to Google that then.
Oh, okay. What do you wish you knew before, like when you first started your career, that you know now?
I guess, sounds cliche, but don't be too hard on yourself because I'm my own biggest critic. It can be good and bad sometimes, but just take it day by day because this can be a lot of work, which it is. Honestly, there's some days I'm surprised that I'm doing this because I have the life that I've always dreamt and prayed about, and to have it seems like really surreal. So it's just like a really cool experience. I get to live like my own vision of myself that I had for myself like 7 years ago, even though I never thought I would actually get here, and I got here a lot quicker than I expected. So, and I don't know, it's like crazy, right? Like I'm like my own executive and CEO, right? I actually own my own company. It's like really cool. So just like enjoy it, basically. My biggest advice towards my previous self.
That's dope. And then Anthony, right here, insert God's plan. God's plan. Are we allowed to do that?
Oh, no.
Okay. I guess not. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Kenneth, it's been great. I'm going to let you say your thank yous because I don't want to jump ahead of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, Kenneth, thank you so much. Like, we have to wrap it up now. Otherwise, Anthony starts charging us extra.
Can he hear those?
I don't think he can. He can't hear the buzzes.
Oh.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for taking the time because we know you're super busy. Like, you never sleep. It's crazy. And honestly, we're in awe of what you do. And we appreciate what you do for the community because it's just, I mean, you're super selfless and you're out here helping people. That's dope. It's awesome to watch. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, all of that and all of that.
Love the way that you love what you do. Love being there to help other people. So Thank you so much to our listeners, to our viewers. We appreciate you being here for an episode of the Stats on Stats podcast resources. Kenneth, are you okay with sharing your socials, contact information with our listeners or our viewers?
Yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Kenneth Ellington, or you can look us up at Ellington Cyber Academy on LinkedIn as well. The domain stuff for our site, it needs to be completely refixed. So it's like Kajabi at KennethEllington.com, but we're gonna fix it. You can find it. You can find us there as well, or you can find us on YouTube or Twitter. Just type in Ellington Cyber Academy, and we should be there. But yeah, if you have any questions for me, feel free to book a call with me, and we can get you started.
Cool. And all of those links will be in the description.
Yeah. We'll see you next time. Bye.